When you're old and alone, do this every day to stay happy and avoid loneliness. When Margaret turned 78, life seemed to quiet down in a way she hadn't expected. Her husband, Richard, had passed away the year before. Their home, once filled with shared laughter, late-night talks, and the clinking of dishes from family dinners, now echoed with silence. Her children were grown, busy with lives of their own. They called, yes, but not often. Her friends were fewer now. Some had moved away, others had simply grown tired. The days stretched long, the evenings even longer, and yet Margaret made a choice. She stood in her little kitchen one morning, holding a warm cup of tea, and thought, I can sit in this silence and let it swallow me, or I can start building something new, gentle, and small, but mine. So she began one soft step at a time. Each morning, she would wake with the sun, not to an alarm, but to light seeping through her curtains. Before she even left the bed, she placed her hand on her heart and whispered, Thank you, I am still here. A simple moment of gratitude. It wasn't dramatic, but it anchored her spirit. Then came her morning tea by the window, always the same spot. She'd watch the world come alive. Squirrels chasing through the garden, birds pecking at seeds, clouds rolling past. And there, in that quiet corner of the day, she opened a notebook. In it, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. Some days, it was the warmth of my slippers. Other days, the memory of Richard's Sunday pancakes. Slowly, this daily act taught her to notice life again. Start your day with appreciation. Don't wait for something grand. Just be thankful for the ordinary warmth, breath, a good cup of tea. Gratitude softens loneliness and trains the heart to find beauty again. Margaret also began to create a daily rhythm, a gentle routine that gave shape to her time. She would rise, wash, stretch lightly, and tend to her small garden. Watering the plants, she'd talk to them softly, almost like old friends. Then she'd read for a while biographies, cookbooks, even poetry. And every afternoon, she made it a rule to reach out to someone. A short phone call to her sister, a voice message to her granddaughter, a wave to the neighbor next door. She realized something powerful. Connection doesn't have to be deep every time. Sometimes, just hearing another voice, sharing a moment, that's enough. Make it a daily habit to speak to one person. Don't wait for the phone to ring, be the one who calls. Even small contact keeps the feeling of community alive. Margaret also knew the importance of movement. Each morning she put on her shoes and took a slow walk around her block. She greeted the trees like old companions, paused to admire blooming flowers, and took deep, mindful breaths. Inside the house, she stretched gently arms, legs, neck. Nothing strenuous, but it reminded her, my body is still here, still working, still mine. Move every day, not for exercise, but to feel alive in your own skin. It doesn't have to be long, just enough to breathe a little deeper. But perhaps the most healing thing Margaret did was create. She pulled out her old painting set. At first, it felt silly. She hadn't painted in years. But slowly, strokes of color filled blank pages. She painted the birds she saw, a teacup, a memory, and with each brush stroke, she felt herself return. Some days she baked and shared the extras with neighbors. Other days she wrote short poems that she never showed anyone. Do something creative. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be good at it. Creativity lets your soul speak when words fall short. She also gave quietly, with intention. On Sundays, she'd place homemade muffins on her neighbor's porch. with a handwritten note. Wishing you a warm and kind morning, the joy of giving filled her with purpose. It reminded her that even in solitude, she could still bring light to others. Find a way to give. Small gestures, kind notes, homemade food, a compliment, keep the heart open, and remind us we still matter to someone. Margaret was mindful of screen time. She loved classic films, but she knew too much time on the television made the loneliness feel sharper. So she limited it. She turned off the noise, picked up an old photo album, and sat with her memories, laughing, crying, remembering. Sometimes she just sat in silence, listening, breathing. Use technology wisely. It can entertain you, but it should never replace human presence or real reflection. Nature became her companion, her garden especially. She watched flowers bloom, listened to the wind in the trees, noticed ants carrying crumbs across the soil. These small scenes grounded her. Spend time outside, even for a few minutes. Nature doesn't judge. It just welcomes you as you are. And then, in the stillest part of the afternoon, Margaret would simply sit. No music, no task, just stillness. Sometimes she prayed. Sometimes she watched the sun move. Other times she simply breathed. These moments she believed were when she truly heard her soul. Practice stillness. Let your mind rest. Loneliness often hides in noise. Stillness brings peace. Before bed, Margaret picked up her journal, not to write pages, but just one line. Today I smiled at the child waving from the park. The sky was pink like a peach this evening. One sentence, one act of presence. It became her ritual of closure. Margaret lives alone, but she is not lonely. Her days are quiet, but meaningful. There's rhythm, warmth, and wonder. So if you find yourself in this chapter of life where the house is quiet, the phone doesn't ring as much, and the world seems to move without you, remember Margaret, do what she does, wake slowly, give thanks, move gently, call someone, create something, give what you can, sit in stillness, notice nature, write one beautiful line before bed, and above all, know that you are still here, still needed, still deeply, deeply loved.